Call this November 5th TCC meeting to order. Just a few housekeeping items. We do have a hybrid meeting option, so staff does a good job about keeping up with questions and comments that folks can't hear on the hybrid meeting, web-based. So please put any questions or anything you have in there. And I know staff tries to keep up with any questions that are in the room. So because we may not be able to hear at home or at work, wherever you're joining us from remotely. First item of business, I'll present the meeting minutes from October 1st TCC meeting, and or any comments that anyone may have, any corrections. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to endorse or improve or to approve the meeting minutes. So moved. Motion. Second. Got a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, carries. Moving on to the public comment section of the meeting. I'll invite anybody from the public or anybody here that wants to speak to this body to approach. All right. Seeing none, I'll declare the public meeting closed and move on to the action items. The first action item on the agenda is to endorse amendments to the TIP. Turn it over to Daniel McDonald.
All right. We have 3 amendments today, and as always, a reminder of the process that the TIP is and goes through for amendments. It's a short-range work program covering a 4-year span, listing all the regionally significant and federally funded transportation projects and services in the MPO area. It has to be consistent with the regional transportation plan, which, as you all know, we're updating now, but we're on the 2045 plan. It's also a fiscally constrained short-term work program through federal appropriations and estimated revenues. The current TIP was adopted in November 2022 and accounts for around $205 billion through FY26. As always, you can go to gnrc.org/TIP to view the active projects that are in our current TIP. Today we have 3 amendments that we will be proposing to the board on November 19th. The first one is Goodlettsville traffic flow improvements and traffic signal upgrades. This amendment simply replaces funds of local line of $421,000 with an equivalent amount of CMAQ funds from the TDOT Air Quality Program. And then it combines that CMAQ construction line into one line, moving it to FY26. The Murfreesboro Amendment, Memorial Boulevard traffic signal improvements. It moves $32,000 in MSTGB funding from the construction to P design, and it adds $1.15 million in local funding to the construction line item. And then we amended the total cost as well, updating that to $3.286 million. Finally, we have the Columbia Pike widening from Duplex Road to Thompson's Bridge, Buckner Road. And that is one moment, please. That's just so I can make sure to let you know the details of this one. You can see it here on the screen. This is the major widening program on project on SR6. We are proposing to add $1.68 million in federal NHPP funds and a matching state funding. We need, just as a caveat on this one, we're going to get with TDOT some more on this. Thompson Station requested that we make sure that this is brought to the TCC and TPB, but we have some verification since this is a TDOT sponsored project to go with this one. But this is simply adding NHPP funding to keep this project moving along in the PE phase. This will be put out for public review and comment on November 10th and close on November 19th after the public hearing and adoption by TPB. I'll turn it back over to you for questions.
All right, thank you, Daniel. Any questions from the committee for staff or Daniel?
Like on Columbia Pike, that looks like that is the Spring Hill segment rather than the Thompson Station. So
Okay.
just wanted to confirm.
Okay, yeah, it's meant to be the Thompson Station one, so we'll correct that for TPB as well. Two separate projects, yep.
Any other questions or comments? Not seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to endorse these amendments to the current tip.
Moved.
Thanks, sir. Got a motion? Got a second? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the next item, still staying on the tip of the common theme today. Staying on the major update to the tip, the upcoming tip we've been working on. So turn it over to Michael Skipper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll go ahead and go to the next slide, Daniel. So our plan with you all this morning is to get your endorsement of our approach to updating the tip. One thing to keep in mind is we have update the tip. It's we're primarily doing this now to facilitate the TDOT projects and the carryover funding from the fiscal years 2023 to 2025 that need to be available in 2026 are incorporated into the STIP. Stacy, do you know when you're planning to submit that to the feds?
So we've got about 2 MPOs are still in review status. The goal is to try to get everything through review by the end of the year and then submit to Federal Highway first of the year. The goal number 1 is to get everything signed, sealed, delivered by April 1st and try to move over to the new platform by April 1st. So that's our goal kind of in that time frame. So the first quarter, we're hoping everything comes together and we can move over to the new platform.
And that's pretty consistent with what y'all have been saying, which is early 2026 to have the new STIP in place. Because of that timing, we've had to take a unique approach to developing our tip. So this tip, even though it'll be a major update, will still be guided by the 2040 Regional Transportation Plan because we won't have the 2050 RTP in place until March, after the time at which you would need to get everything submitted to the Fed. So this major update is focused on 3 things. One is carrying over any unobligated money through fiscal year 2025 into fiscal year 2026, which is the overlap year between the 2 tips. That's where we're going to need your help over the next few weeks. The second thing it's doing is programming all of the TDOT projects, the TDOT-led projects scheduled through 2030. Some of this is carryover, some of it is new. So it's adding those projects to the tip. And then it's also programming the regional groupings for our set-asides of federal highway funds and all of the transit formula funding to be distributed later to individual projects as those projects are identified. So it's essentially making sure that TDOT has their projects programmed in the new STIP and that you're going to be good with your carryover funding for 2026. This tip update does not include any additional awards. Those are going to be pending our adoption of the 2050 RTP in March. What we're planning to do is process and ask the board to approve a concurrent amendment to the new tip at the time we adopt the RTP to align the 2630 tip to the 2050 RTP. So what we're asking you to do over the next couple of days is to take advantage of the URLs to explore your local projects as they're represented. You may find that we've carried over money you no longer need. You'll notice it's carryover. I don't know, maybe Daniel, if you could click on the gnrc.org/app/2050 RTP. Need to reshare. So this is the same application that you've been hopefully visiting fairly often as we've been developing the 2050 RTP. There's a new tab. It's the second tab. You don't need to be logged in to view this. Second tab, TIP projects. This is a listing of all the projects that we've identified for the new TIP. Again, these are carryover projects from a local perspective, and then the new TDOT projects. To view the funding rows that we've assumed to be associated with these projects, you can click into any of the projects here on this page, or you can use the sub-nav there for TIP funding rows. Let's just go ahead and click that, Daniel. Yes, yep, exactly. This will give you all the funding rows for all the projects that we've incorporated into the new TIP. And we're really just asking you to just make sure that anything identified as carryover under the fund suffix column is in fact money you need carried forward. We did seek to remove anything we had record of obligation of, but that's a very limited view of your funding needs with money programmed in the current TIP. So over the next couple of days, we'd appreciate your help reviewing all the carryover funding associated with the projects. We have received comments from TDOT in terms of the representation of their projects. Stacy, we've gone through those comments. I think we have a couple of additional questions for you. Some of the notes from the TDOT team were dollar amounts, but no specification on if that was the total all in for a phase or if that was the 80% federal share. So we made an assumption, but we'll need to run that back through you all. So that's where we are with the new TIP. Today, we're seeking endorsement of our approach, just getting you to acknowledge that what we're looking to do is carry over 26 funds at the new TDOT projects and then the program to set aside the federal highway and transit money for the next few years with acknowledgement that we will align the 2030 TIP with the 2050 RTP in March of 2026. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Michael. I'm glad you explained all that because that's it's a lot going
It's
on.
not ideal situation,
It's a
but
lot.
it's in Tennessee, we're not all synced up on our TIP and RTP cycles, and it leads to this sort of situation.
You gotta love those transition years.
Real quick, our goal when we move over to the new platform would be to have our tips, just go concurrently and not have that overlap anymore. Because that's, especially now when you're doing your plan, it's like total chaos.
A lot of moving parts.
Yeah. So we hope to move forward with that as well.
As an engineer, I appreciate the moving parts, but that's just an engineer thing. Any comments or questions from committee? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to endorse the approach to the. Yep. Got a motion? Can we get a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Haven't. Moving on to the informational items, regional transportation plan updates. I'll turn it over to Matthew for this one.
It's forward on the slides.
Thank you. So today I'll give you a brief update on where we are on the RTP update. I will say it's a brief update. There's more coming very soon. So as a reminder, we've been going through the plan development process in general. Some highlights of that have been y'all submitting applications in the apply database and doing lots of county workshops with us, lots of emails verifying project details, carryover balances, lots of things we've been communicating on. We are nearing the tail end of the update process. So we are putting the final touches on a first draft of the plan right now. I'll show you some where you're going to get your next peek at that in a few slides. But basically, we are planning to so we're going to release that plan briefly. We're asking in the next week or two for another pass on details. We're going to keep adding cost estimates to the website, but We're hoping that all of your projects are mostly in a near final status at this point, because again, we're near that first draft being complete. Then we will be going ahead and we'll be sharing that with TDOT and the feds. And then by January, February, we'll be looking to seek the final drafts to y'all, and we'll be planning to adopt that in March. Daniel, if you could go to the next slide for a moment here. As a reminder, you've seen this website a million times. We just saw it again. The RTP website, gnrc.org/app 2050 RTP. There, we're starting to add more cost estimates. We're starting to add funding rows here. We're starting to fill in that financial detail. But again, in the next week or so, please be reviewing this in as much detail as you can. And that'll lead to the next slide, Daniel. So next steps. So we're up here at the top. We're asking if you have not designated your top local priority project yet. Remember, that's the one project from your community that you want to get some extra points on. This really is the last call for that. Please go ahead and follow up with us if so. Where I said you're November 14th, we're going to be hosting some TCC office hours online at 10:30. Information will follow on this, but that is where we plan to give you a more polished version of that draft before we present it to TPB on the 19th. As mentioned, after that, we will go to state and federal review of this first draft. January, February, we'll make any final revisions. February, March will be the public review and comment period, and March will be the TPB adoption. So that, I believe, is all. Daniel, take me to the next slide. I think that's all for this. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them, but otherwise, back to the chair.
Thank you, Matthew. Any questions for Matthew or the rest of the staff?
Sorry.
Do we expect any delays in terms of the federal review, given the shortage of staff at Federal Highway? Or I don't know if you know more about that, Stacy.
I do. I'll give an update during mine and give it now if you want me to. So they've added some staff from two states, West Virginia and Mississippi, that are going to be helping with reviews. We actually met with them this week on that. And so hopefully that's going to, we're not, our primary discussions with the TIP stuff and long range plan reviews, just trying to get everything in line with that. We didn't get into a lot of the other things that are going on, obviously with transit and some of the other stuff. So we're continuing to work with them, but they've added staff from those other states are kind of filling those gaps. I don't know if that's kind of a new model or anything. It's just kind of, and y'all do a great job doing virtual meetings. And so that's one of the things they've asked us to do statewide so that, you know, obviously we've got people from other states that are going to want to know what's going on for items that they're reviewing and things like that. So a little progress there.
Are they online today?
I don't see anybody. I'm not sure. Sonia Baker is
Any
probably,
emails we should add to our distribution list?
excuse me.
Any email addresses we should add to our distribution?
We'll be getting you all that information, and it's broken out. I think West Virginia's doing like TDOT regions 1 and 2, and Mississippi's doing 3 and 4. If I recall how that's set up, but we will, and we make sure that they're on. We do like a separate meeting notice for all of our internal folks at Federal Highway, and it links to your meetings as well. So we double check and make sure that they're included.
And just to clarify, what we would see on the 14th, is that that's not just
You can ask, just try to resubmit them.
draft
So just
document?
submit that whole report, delete those and make it fresh.
Yeah, the document will be an updated version of the 2045 plan. It won't be the final glossy version. That won't be available until 2026, but all the technical documentation that describes the financial assumptions, all the technical analysis on demonstration of need, and the project selection process will be available on the 14th. The focus though on the 14th isn't so much that stuff. It's going to be in getting everybody's buy-in in terms of the project awards that we're recommending at that stage of the game. Those are still subject to change, obviously, until we endorse for public review and comment. And we're very likely to make recommendations that are short of our budget, just to leave us some wiggle room to add more between now and January and not be in a situation where we're having to rescind a recommended award.
Any other questions? Thank you, Michael. We'll move on to the regular reports. Turn it over to Stacy again. See that report.
No, good part of that. Statewide partnership, that's still under review. That will go through the end of the year. We'll coordinate with the MPO, just to make sure coordination and if we have any questions or follow-ups regarding the submittals, within the MPO area. Our planning grant closed on, Halloween. We've got, 66, I think statewide. There were 11 in Region 3. Do you remember, Heather, how many were within the MPO? You just started looking at those, right? There's 5 within the MPO. Thank you. So we had 5 within the MPO. We're looking to try to do 20 to 25 projects across the state with the planning grants. It's one of our biggest submittals. So it's still very popular. We get asked about it continually, and we hope to continue that program. Again, follow up a little bit more on the with the federal highway. They, again, Sonia Baker, which many of y'all know, she's like the safety engineer. So she's been the primary person that everything's gone to, plan reviews, tips and everything. And then there's another person that's helped her. So I think there's two, like I said, two people from Mississippi and West Virginia that are going to step in and help that as well. I wanted to note also, it's kind of good timing because, so I can't recall her name, but West Virginia uses the eco platform for their e-step, and she was very positive about it. And so hopefully good timing there. I think she can kind of give us some pointers and ideas as far as how the federal highway review will be a part of that platform as well. So it's one of the good positive things out of that. So all I have, unless somebody has any questions. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy. Any questions for Stacy? All right, move on to the chair's report. I'm just not that entertaining, so I don't have anything for the chair's report. I'll try to be more entertaining as I proceed with being chair. So move back to the staff report. Move back to Daniel.
All right, I'll be giving you the TIP status report today. We have obligations through September 19th. This is just 3 weeks of a month, maybe three quarters of a month more than you saw at the last meeting, which was at the beginning of September. The percentage and the percent of FHWA funds elapsed is actually just about the same. So we're a little bit behind our target goal there. But the good news is we did obligate a significant amount of funding in that timeline, about 15 or 16 million, I believe, compared to the last report. But it looks the same because there was also almost 30 million of funding added to the programming during that time as well. So that's relatively good news because we always want more funding it programmed, more revenue into the system, but our percentage of obligation rate looks about the same on that. As always, if you have amendments or TIP-related questions, comments, please send them to tip@gnrc.org. That makes sure the whole team gets that, and it creates a good kind of record of reference for us as well. Upcoming meetings, we have the Transportation Policy Board, of course, third Wednesday in here. We will be approving the amendments, the update to the new TIP, and also talking about the first draft of the 2050 RTP. TCC back in this room again, first Wednesday of December, last one of the year. That same day, we have our annual partner appreciation reception that evening. If you've not gotten a notice for that, please let me know. I think we've sent it out on the recap, but we'll make sure to do that again. We would love to have all of you there. Regional Council meeting December 10th, and then the environmental roundtable on the 11th. And then a final note on the staff report. Many of you may have heard between TCCs, Taylor has taken a new position, so he left us last Friday, and that's why I was stuck with the tip report today. I'm just kidding. I like seeing our progress. But he has gone to HNTB. It's a great opportunity for him, and I mentioned his role specifically because he will be continuing to work with us and with all of y'all. His title, I think, is statewide MPO coordinator, and I believe he's going to be working very closely with TDOT on some big projects as well, in addition to helping with the MPO programming. So we're all very excited for him. I think he's taking just a week off before starting, but I'm sure you all will be hearing from him very soon. So we appreciate his work here and excited for his next step. You want to add?
Well, I'll just add, so Taylor was doing sort of double duty recently in managing the tip and also supporting you all in project delivery endeavors. So those will be two positions moving forward. We're very close to announcing the new tip coordinator, but we'll be looking to bring somebody on board to help manage project delivery process with all of you. So if you have any ideas for that position, feel free to point them to our website at gnrc.org/jobs.
And again, you can always come email me directly, email Matthew directly, and then the tip at gnrc.org to make sure everybody gets it.
Thank you, Daniel and Michael. Any questions for staff? All right, we've come to that time of the agenda with any other business to come before this body. All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, we are adjourned.